Let's be honest, the conversation around AI and jobs, it can be pretty stressful, right? You hear all this talk about automation and you start picturing a future where human labor is basically obsolete. But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if this whole shift is less about the end of work and more about the beginning of, well, something completely new? To really wrap our heads around this moment, it actually helps to look back. Think about the Industrial Revolution. That was all about machines taking over the heavy lifting, literally. It freed up human muscle. Well, today, we're in a very similar moment, but the focus has shifted. This time around, the revolution isn't about our muscles, it's about freeing our minds from really demanding cognitive work.
And this quote right here just hits the nail on the head. The story of AI isn't really about replacement, it's about augmentation. It's a fundamental shift. Think of it like a powerful extension of our own minds, a tool that helps us make sense of a world that's just gotten overwhelmingly complex. So let's call this what it is, the next great offloading. We've gone from offloading our physical work to machines, and now we're starting to offload our cognitive labor. Now, this is an incredibly powerful process, for sure, but it's also the source of all that uncertainty we're feeling. This idea of cognitive offloading, it sounds technical, but it's something we humans have always done. I mean, if you've ever written down a shopping list or used a calculator, you've done it. Used a tool to reduce your mental workload. But AI is different. It's like cognitive offloading on steroids. It's not just storing information for us, it's actively helping us with complex stuff like reasoning and problem solving. And this is why this revolution feels so different, so much more personal for a lot of people. See, past technological shifts mostly impacted manual labor, but AI is walking right into the office. It's starting to handle routine mental tasks in highly skilled white-collar fields like law, software engineering, and accounting. And that, well, that changes the whole conversation. And we have to acknowledge the fear that this creates. This idea of a useless class. It's a harsh phrase, but it taps into our deepest anxieties about our own value and purpose. I mean, for so long, our jobs have been tied to our identity. The idea of that disappearing can trigger a genuine existential crisis. This is the real challenge we have to confront.
So how do we confront it? Well, it requires a pretty big shift in perspective, away from the problem and towards the potential. And that brings us to this fascinating concept, the post-labor paradigm. Now, this isn't about a world where nobody does anything. It's about imagining an economy that's just not centered on the traditional 9-to-5 job anymore.
So, post-labor economics is this emerging field that asks a really bold question. What happens when machines can do most of the economically valuable stuff? Instead of just assuming we'll all find new jobs, it strategically maps out an economy where our income is no longer directly tied to the work we do.
This table does a fantastic job of laying out the difference. In our world, the traditional model, human labor is what drives value, and the whole market is based on scarcity. But in a post-labor model, the value comes from AI and autonomous systems. The cost to produce one more of anything plummets towards zero. And that simple fact flips the entire dynamic from scarcity to abundance, which could lead to a totally different social structure.
This shift from scarcity to abundance is absolutely the crucial point. And look, this isn't some utopian fantasy. It's a potential economic reality driven by technology. So, what does the actual output of a world like this even look like? Just look at this number, $15.7 trillion. That's what some projections say AI could add to the global economy by 2030. This isn't just a little bit of growth. This is a massive tidal wave of new wealth, all powered by automation. This is the kind of incredible productivity that could actually form the economic foundation for a post-scarcity world. Now, that level of abundance forces us to think way beyond the ideas we're used to, like universal basic income. UBI is usually talked about as a safety net, right? A floor to keep people out of poverty. But a much more ambitious idea is universal high income. This completely reframes the conversation. It's not a handout, it's a dividend. It's your share of the immense wealth created by technology that is really our collective inheritance as a species. But, of course, a future this good, this equitable, it's not guaranteed. It's not just going to happen by default. It has to be designed. It has to be built, and it has to be governed with some really deliberate, thoughtful action. We're going to need what you might call a new digital constitution. This really gets to the ethical heart of the challenge. Technology is never neutral. Its outcome depends entirely on the rules we create to manage it. Will AI be used to benefit all of society, or will it be used to concentrate even more wealth and power into the hands of a few? The answer to that question depends on the frameworks we start building right now. So, what does that kind of governance look like in practice? Well, we can actually draw on real-world examples, like the EU's AI Act. It's built on a few key pillars, like the ones you see here. A risk-based approach, making sure things are transparent, demanding human oversight for important decisions, and establishing clear accountability. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're concrete steps toward responsible AI.
And the absolute crucial point here is this. Whatever rules we make have to prioritize the public good over corporate interests. We have to resist what's called corporate capture, where the industry essentially writes its own rules. Because what we're really doing here is building the operating system for our future society. We have to get it right.
Now, if we can get that governance piece right, that's when we unlock the most profound opportunity of all. By automating the drudgery and mastering complexity, we create the perfect conditions for a new human renaissance. A moment where we can fundamentally redefine what it means to live a valuable life.
And this brings us to the ultimate philosophical question that AI is forcing us all to confront. For centuries, our answer to "who are you?" has been tied up in "what do you do for a living?" If AI takes over many of our jobs, we're going to be forced to find a new, much deeper source of identity.
A post-work identity could be built on pillars like these. Things like creativity and self-expression, deeper community connections through caring for others and volunteering, things our current economy undervalues, lifelong curiosity, just learning for the joy of it, and maybe most important of all, play, rediscovering how to do things just because they're fun.
And this brings us to one final, powerful reframing of this whole thing. The AI takeover doesn't have to be a dystopian loss of control. Instead, we can see it as humanity finally mastering the crushing complexity of our modern world and putting that mastery to work for our own flourishing. It's not taking over from us, it's taking on complexity for us.
So, we end with this challenge. The technology to free us from scarcity and from drudgery, it's arriving. It's here. The real test is no longer a technological one. It's a social and a political one. Can we design the economic systems, the governance, and the culture that are actually worthy of that profound freedom? That is the question we now have to answer, together.